The Bully Resistance Show is brought to you by Nathan Alfred Insurance, an independent insurance agency located in Vienna, West Virginia. They specialize in auto, home, life, and business insurance. And what makes this agency unique is your ability to shop the market. The Bully Resistance Show is brought to you by Planet Fitness. You can come and check out their new and improved Planet Fitness. Now, I'm a member of Planet Fitness, and they have all new strength equipment. They have tanning beds, rowing machines, and so much more. Starting at just $10 a month, you can join Planet Fitness, home of the judgment-free zone, where members experience a hassle-free, non-intimidating environment. So please, see club or visit planetfitness.com for more information. Now, you can help support the Bully Resistance Show with David Wells as low as $1 per month. You can go to www.patreon.com/Bully Resistance Show. That's www.p as in Paul, A-T as in Tom, R-E-O-N as in Nancy.com/Bully Resistance Show. So for more information, go to www.davebond.org. That's www.davebond.org.
Welcome, everyone, to the Bully Resistance Show with David Wells, nationally known smooth jazz artist, CEO and co-founder of the Chocolate Jazz Foundation, and the co-host of a 2-hour syndicated radio program called Chocolate Jazz Radio. Bully Resistance is a weekly 1-hour show that's a motivational, informative, and inspirational program. We will have interviews with musicians, actors, government officials, politicians, psychologists, counselors, and just average day citizens. Of course, the topics will include making right choices, never giving up desire, discipline, determination, bullying in public schools, the workplace, and in your community, bully resistance and prevention, self-defense, Jiu Jitsu, and current affairs, and much, much more. And if you're ready, we are. Here's your host, David Wells.
I want to thank everyone for tuning in to another episode of the Bully Resistance Show with David Wells. My name is David, and today we have a special guest from San Diego, California. He is a full-time professional athlete and has competed all over the world, including like Barcelona, Abu Dhabi, Moscow, Beijing, Nottingham, Rio de Janeiro, Las Vegas, New York City, Los Angeles, and goes on and on. But also, he is a multiple-time world champion for IBJJF, ADCC Champion, Pan American Champion, World Pro Champion, European Champion, and he is also a very successful entrepreneur. So at this time, I want to introduce Andre Galvao on the Bully Resistance Show. Andre, thanks for coming on the show.
No problem. My pleasure, man. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, I appreciate it. You know, I'll share this with you. A couple weeks ago, I was thinking of people that I would love to have on the show, from musicians to athletes and just successful business people all together. And I started sending out messages to people like on Facebook and Instagram and just asking them if they would want to be on the show. And then I sent you a message, and I think it was just a few hours after I received a reply, and you said yes. And then I was thinking, Andre, okay, well, this guy has over almost 500,000 followers on Instagram. He's huge on social media, so I'm probably thinking that he has some person that works for you on social media. And but I guess you do all your social media yourself, right?
Yes. So 95%.
Wow. Yeah, you know, before we get started, can you, Andre, just give us a little bit of background of yourself? I mean, like where you were born and raised, maybe some information about your wife and family, and then what got you started in Jiu Jitsu?
Yes, I was born in Brazil, in São Sebastião. It's a small town in the coast of Sao Paulo. We call Litoral Norte. It's like up north coast. And it's a beautiful place. It has a lot of beaches and great places to to hang out. Usually like it's a vacation town. So I was born there, and when I was 5 years old, I moved to a very small town called Pindamonhangaba. It's a really, really small. It's like inland, so in the middle of near the coast as well, but it's like 4 hours away from the coast. And I lived there until I was second grade. And then when I was like 8, 9 years old, I moved back to the old town, lived there a little bit again for a couple of years. And then I moved with my family again to São José dos Campos when I was in the third grade, mid of third grade. And then I stayed there until I was like 18 years old. And when I got 18 years old, I moved to Sao Paulo to train Jiu Jitsu. But I started Jiu-Jitsu in São José dos Campos when actually I started in Judo first when I was 12 years old. And then after Jiu-Jitsu, and then when I was 14 years old, I stopped for about 2 years almost. And then when I was 16, I went back to Jiu-Jitsu again. So the reason that I stopped is because my family was passing through hardships, and I need to provide also helping the family. So I worked for 2 years, and then after those 2 years, like my father, he let me like do like whatever I want. Like say, oh, now you work for 2 years, like it's okay, like you can do what you want. I said, so I want to do jiu-jitsu, and since I studied jiu-jitsu, I thought that I could leave, living the dream, like my dream was become a good fighter, like I'm not saying like, oh, become a world champion, this and that, yes, but I had so much passion for the fight, and I was just working day by day, not thinking about my future, not thinking about the past. I was just focused in the present the whole time, working really hard, and then I started winning tournaments since a white belt, and I started doing really well. I got my first sponsor actually when I was white belt still. So, I feel like really blessed. And when I was like around 21, 22 years old, I met my wife, and she was my girlfriend back then. And after 2 years, we get married. Not even that, a year and a half. Then we have our daughter, and then now I have a family and everything. So it was really fast. Everything happens really fast. And
right.
I started training because, my brothers, they start training. And I used to swim when I was 12 years old because I had bronchitis. And my father didn't let me fight. He told me to swim. So you need to swim in order to heal your bronchitis, So, and my brothers, they start training jiu-jitsu and judo. So I was always like watching them. And then later on, when I step on the mat, like after a couple months, I got a free tuition from Professor Calazan. So he said, "Oh, you can come." My family didn't have like much, and he helped us like giving like a free tuition to the school. He has a social project, and then I started, and then everything started from the bottom, and I'm so blessed, I'm so happy. I have a nice childhood, a lot of friends, great friends, such a healthy environment as well. Never use drugs.
That's good.
And I used to live like in a farm, like a ranch, so I used to have horses and things like that. I think that gave me like a lot of happiness and joy when I was a little kid, Well,
let me ask you this. In regards to your childhood and actually going to school, what was going to school like in Brazil? I mean, was it, and what I mean by that was, did you have to work harder or study more than the average kids, or did things come easy to you?
School in Brazil is not easy, It's pretty hard, school. Even though like the education system there is not up there, I believe because in Brazil there's a lot of poor people and starvation, things like that, So, but when you can go to school, it's not easy. It's tough, Of course, there's like public school in some areas, like bad areas. It's the school system is really, really poor, and really bad. But thank God I used to live in a good neighborhood, you know, even though like my family struggled, my dad did the best, like, so you could live in a good neighborhood. So, and the school was okay, you know. When I was a little kid, the reason that I moved and all the way around, like living in different places when I was a little kid, it was because my father, he used to have a work that he was like kind of like a manager, you know, and he used to travel and he needs to move to different places. So since I was born until I was like around 8-9 years old, my family was, I'm not saying like wealthy, but my father could provide great things for us, you know. But after that, my father lost a job and he was employment like for like 15 years, you know. It was a really tough time, and he used to have like 6 kids, you know, so it was hard.
Right. Let me ask you this. You said that you have a daughter. How old is she now?
She's 12 years old right now.
Does she go to a public school or a private school? Or?
Yeah, she here in the United States. I live in the United States right now, so she goes to a public school, but now she's doing a homeschool. She's doing homeschool right now. Okay. Yeah, she started like a couple months ago.
Okay, Andre, let me ask you this. When you were going to school, did you experience any type of bullying, or did you see bullying happen at your school in Brazil?
Yeah, I saw like that happening, and you know, back in the day, like in Brazil, I don't know here, but in Brazil, like we didn't know what it was like bullying. You know, now the word bullying, actually, like the bully word, is in Brazil as well right now nowadays. You know, so people understand what is that. So, but I saw, of course, and thank God I never been like bullied. I did, you know, like a couple times, but not all the time. You know, but I used to see like kids like getting bullied like a lot, you know, and especially like the bigger kids like bullying the younger ones. So it wasn't fun to see. And I sometimes I even try to protect my friends, you know, and argue with other people, why you do that, why you do this, you know. So it was really tough. I never swallow like things like that, you know. I never let things happen. Just like, you know, if somebody, you know, back then I didn't know Jiu Jitsu or anything, but I always tried to protect myself, you know, not being like aggressive in anything, but just try to like being polite and just like, hey, why you do that, you know. So I just tried to talk, but it wasn't easy, you know. Yeah,
you know, they say that out of all the bullying that takes place, 85% of all the bullying, there's no intervention, which means that the teachers aren't getting involved, the administration's not getting involved, the kids' friends that are watching the bully aren't getting involved, and I think that's one of the biggest problems that we're having now. But in regards to your daughter, did she ever face any type of bullying?
Yeah, she did. She did before, and we just talked to her, and it's being really tough. But you need to talk with your kids, right? So we try to have a good communication, make sure that she tells us everything that happens. But thank God, right now she's like at homeschool, so she interacts a lot with other kids training jiu-jitsu. You know, when she's doing jiu-jitsu. Like now, all her friends is from the gym. She has like still some friends from school because she started doing homeschool for a couple months only. Sure. But yeah, it definitely happened and happened before, and we just like have a really good communication with her, you know, and you know, it's all about like the friends that you choose as well. You know, it's really important. So we just try to guide our daughter like that.
So let me ask you this. So when, so did she actually come to you and say, "Dad, Mom, I'm getting bullied," or did you find out another way?
No, she came and talked to us. Yeah, she came and told us.
When she came and talked to you, how did you actually get it resolved? Did you get it resolved by saying you pulled her out of school, or did you go talk to the administration, or did you talk to the person that was the parents of the kid that was bullied? How did you resolve it?
Yeah, we talked with first we talked with Sarah. We asked like who was doing that, and we told her like to just don't like do anything if the person told you, then the things will be like really serious, you know, and then you need to protect yourself, but also you got to talk with the administration or the principal from the school and let them know about that.
Right.
But like, she just like avoid, you know, the communication with the person, why the person was like trying to bully her. Like, she was just like walking away. Like, that's how I guide her. I say, you know, if the person, as long as the person doesn't touch you, just go away. So that way, like, the words cannot like affect you, you know. So just go away and just try to choose your friends as well. If you have friends that protect that person that is bullying you, so avoid those friends as well. Just like make sure, like, you know, like if your friends are your friends, you know, real friends. So, and right. You know, thank God, like she acted really well and she reacted really well in the situation. The problem was solved, but I know that there's like things that happen and where like the bully can be even like more intense, you know. So, but thank God, like the experience that we had was like that, you know, the time that she told us, we communicate like really well and the things will settle. But that's the way we guide them. We guide our daughter.
Let me ask you this, Andre. If you were not so involved in jiu-jitsu, of course you are worldwide known. I mean, as a competitor and also now as an instructor, and with your own academy. And usually, I was talking with my instructor, and he says very rarely you get a high competitor that's, you know, world titles, and then you also get an instructor or an academy that also raises up these major athletes. And so I commend you for doing that. I mean, that's like phenomenal in the jiu-jitsu world. But anyway, we'll get to that later. But so if jiu-jitsu was not so involved in your life, do you feel that getting kids involved in some type of martial arts or program at school would help them to prevent bullying happening to them? Or what's your thoughts about that, about the kids getting involved in martial arts?
100% we will help them, you know.
Well, I mean, is it because of the confidence?
Yeah, because the discipline, the confidence, you know, the ability of understanding what is a fight, especially if you do jiu-jitsu, you know, especially if the kid does jiu-jitsu. You know, jiu-jitsu is such a strong martial art, very impactful, you know, like it can change like the way you think, the way you see things, the way you see like the person that doesn't train jiu-jitsu, you know. So you become more like calm, you know. So you start understanding the mechanics of the body, and you can fight every single day, right? Like you can roll and scramble every day. So you got a better cardio. You start becoming better and better. And as a self-defense is one of the best things, you know, that I think is the best. You know, it's the best martial art ever. So I think definitely like you build a lot of confidence, strength. You know, even though I believe that the kid can be like smarter, because the fight is not very simple, it's very complex. You need to think while you're fighting. You need to like react properly. So you discover leverage positions, you know, it's amazing. And I remember when I was a little kid, like I was really shy, you know, and now it's I'm way better in this term. Like I can talk with anyone, I can speak in front of thousands of people, I have no problem. And I think jiu-jitsu really helped me to build my confidence, definitely, because I start like early. And even though if you start later, you can build that confidence as well. So jiu-jitsu is the best art and martial art for the little kid, for sure.
Let me ask you this. I've been a full-time musician for 18 years, travel full-time. Mm-hmm. And I performed in California a few times, in Vegas, but I know that when you travel as much as you do and as much as I have, trying to juggle work, concerts, and family, how were you able to keep everything balanced, especially with your wife and your daughter? with all the seminars, with all the time involved in jiu-jitsu? Were they, was it because they're involved in jiu-jitsu, or was it because you just made them a priority? I mean, how did you do that?
Yeah. Every single thing helps, every single thing that you mentioned, it really helps. But above all, I believe that, from my beliefs and my faith, I think God is number one for me, my relationship with him. I think
that's your first priority.
Yeah, that's my first priority. It gives me a lot of balance, So I wake up in the morning, I pray, I read, I study, some lessons, and I'm ready for the day, and then I feel that things start just coming together, the time with my family, the time with my daughter, the time with my work, so all the things start being in such a great balance. And thank God my wife, she does jiu-jitsu, she understands jiu-jitsu, and she's my manager. She's the one that sets the seminar. She deals with the dates, the agenda. And her priority is the family as well. It's God and the family as well. So the work comes third, God, family, and work. So she understands that too. She knows.
I'm sorry.
She knows that. She knows that I need to have time with my daughter. I need to have time with her. So she makes sure that, I have time that I travel, time that I stay home, time that I need to rest. Sometimes I do seminars back to back, all the time. And I'm teaching every day, 3-4 classes. But I have time in the afternoon with my family. Sometimes I teach 2 classes. But I'm always every single day at the gym teaching, training, helping people. So I think the balance comes from my relationship with God, because in the Word of God you learn that family is priority. God is priority, but he's the one that builds family, and he's the one that wants you to take care of your family. The Word of God says that you need to take care of your family. That's your first ministry, is the family. So I make sure that my family is doing really good. If I start giving too much time to my work instead of doing time with God, and sometimes that happens, I can tell the alignment of the things, it start shifting, and things start being unbalanced, So and right away I need to remember that I need to have my priority first, which is God, then family, and then work. So, and things work, and I believe that once you surrender your life to have a great, I know there's a lot of people that don't believe, and I respect that, I understand that, but I have such a joy, doing that. I feel that it's such a great thing, and I know that people, they have different experiences, but until now I feel really, really blessed and really happy, and I'm really thankful for all the things that happen in my life. So I have a very successful gym. I have a great family, things that all my dreams that I have a vision, and then the things start working. So I think it's great, So I'm really, and of course I work really hard, when I'm putting to work, I'm working hard. I'm not there just playing around, So the little 4 hours that I have every day, the 4 classes that I have, 4 or 5 hours that I have of working every day, I do my best 100%,
Let me ask you this, Andre. I think I heard you say on one of your videos, or maybe it was during an interview, that people who have all the money that they need, but they're still miserable. You've been extremely successful, just not as an athlete, but you're extremely well off financially, and you've been blessed financially beyond, I'm sure, that you thought of. But why do you think there are different people? Why do you think why do you think you're different more so than people who have money but are still miserable? Do you think it's your faith, or do you feel like you balance, or is it like a combination of, you know, having a family, your wife that loves you, supports you, a daughter that loves you, supports you? I mean, why do you feel that you're different than somebody?
Like, for me, you know, 100%, I think it's because the gap, that the emptiness that every single person has, you know, which is like, you know, like the dark side that we have, you know, I think it needs to be covered by the light, you know. So, you know, like, just when God created the world and he said, let be light, and then light was there, right? But in the beginning, you know, like, the earth was in form, and then he started creating everything. Like, it said, like, it was formless, right? The earth was formless. The earth already exists, but it was formless. They started, like, organizing everything, you know. But before everything, he said, let be light. And boom, light was there. And then he separated the light from the darkness. But it's the same thing when you say yes to God. When you say, God, be part of my life, you know, it's the same thing. He say, let be light. Boom. And then you start, like, taking your formless life and start, like, putting all things together, organized. You start, like, putting, like, okay, your family's, you have a problem here, let me fix that. And then you start helping you and guide you on how to fix that. Oh, you financially, like, having struggles, you don't know how to deal with your money, things like that. He start, like, fixing that too. And he start giving wisdom, you know. So I think when you allow the light to be within you, you know, which is Jesus, I think it's a big change, you know. And all the formless and void things that you have in life, you start getting connected, and the puzzles start, like, being together, because God created us to have a relationship with him. And if you make this relationship as a priority in your life, things start changing, you know. And I have no doubt of that. I live that, you know. Of course, I'm not perfect, you know. I have my mistakes, you know. Sometimes I do things that I can do, you know. But I have the forgiveness of God, and I try to be in the path, you know. So I think this is the priority, and I think that's what every single human being should do. I know there's people, they try to do other things, you know. They try to do meditation, they try to do other things, but you know what? Like, I think the only way for you to cover this darkness and this formless and this void space that we have in our life is with God. I know that with Jesus, I know that still, like, things that in my life that needs to be fixed, you know. And I know in the right time, at the right moment, God it's working, you know, like, because I believe in his blessings, I believe in his promises, and he fulfills so much promises that he told me in the Bible, you know, in the Word of God. It's being fulfilled in my life. So I really live this dream, you know. It's a real thing, you know, and I share that because I think every single human being should have this experience, you know, should give this chance, you know. Yeah, and just you know.
Andre, I think one of the things is a couple points I want to make. I was raised in a Christian home. My dad was a pastor for 50 years. I've been on the different TV shows, and you know, but this is the way I've seen it. Mm-hmm. Even though God forgives us, even if we screw up, there are still people that are watching what you do, how you act, and they are less forgiving because they're critical. They're thinking, see, when you are on a platform as big as you are, you are worldwide known with Jiu Jitsu. You're worldwide known as an academy, and I guarantee you that you have people watching every step, watching every word, watching every action that you do, and when you slip, they're going to go ahead and come on you, just because of the fact that, you know, they use it. But see, that's the biggest thing. But you know, we have to understand that nobody's perfect. We have to understand that God forgives us. But
for sure.
Yeah. But I think see, and that's the thing that I know about you. When I realized when I actually was going through these videos, you were making a stand of your faith. Which and after every major competition, and you recognize God as that helped you. I see pictures of you praying for your athletes, you know, and that says a lot. You know, I mean, it's just like so many of us. we're afraid to call ourselves Christian because we're afraid of what people are going to think because we are not perfect. But see, we don't live our life for your students or anything else. It's for God. But on a different subject, let me mention this to you, and we'll wrap things up in 3 minutes. You know, a lot of my listeners are going through a lot of hard times. They've been bullied. I've got, matter of fact, there was a 15-year-old boy that committed suicide close to my hometown, and because he was bullied. And I even get bullied on social media myself because of what I do and how I stand against bullying. But, you know, it says in the Bible that without a vision, people perish. Why do you think there's so many people that are so scared of pursuing their dreams, or they quit pursuing their dreams?
Again, I think like, you know, when you understand that everything that's happening in your life is for a reason, is for a purpose, things change, you know. And the thing is, sometimes a lot of people, you know, they don't have any kind of belief or faith, or, you know, and it's harder for them,
sure.
You know. But when you understand that God has the best for you, and you understand that it's not the person who's bullying you, it's the devil, you know, like it's the devil works behind the life of that person to bully you, you know. So, you know, we are spiritual beings, even though we are physical, we are spiritual beings, and those who are away can be used by the enemy to bully people, to do the bad things. You know, why do you think it has like thieves and has like bad person, even inside the church? Like it happens, you know, because the enemy, he works against those who believe in God, or those who God has a goal, you know, or God has a purpose in their life. So I understand, like, every single time that someone tried to attack me, that person, it's just being used by the dark side to attack me. So what I do, my fight is not against that person. My fight is against the enemy. So I need to pray. I pray to God to help me, and I pray for His angels to fight, you know, in the realms, you know, like in the heaven, you know, to give me back the blessing. And I'll see the person that is attacking me being transformed, you know, because we need to pray for our enemies, right? So being transformed, you know, either like according to the way that God called that person to be, or you see like the end of the person. You'll be like a empty place, you know. So those who do evil, you know, will be perished. Like those who do evil will pay. We will get paid. You know, it's a payback. There's a payback in every single thing you do. If you do good things, you receive good things. If you do bad things, you're gonna get bad things back to you. So it's a choice. You know, I know it's a choice. You know, so people know that's a choice. But like, if someone goes personally and attack me, like either like personally or face to face or in social media or whatever, it's being used by the enemy. You know, I am like, that's my understanding. I am in a spiritual battle, you know. So I am, you know, because I'm a spiritual being and I know the promises that God has for me. So I think if we all think like that, knowing that God has the best for us, who can be, like the Bible says, if God is for us, who can be against us? You know, no one can be against us. And I think, like, you know, of course, like a lot of people, they don't know how to deal with the struggles because they don't have the foundation of the Word of God, because the Word of God is true, because the Word of God says that, hey, in this world, you're going to have affliction, but take heart. I overcome the world. So I have the world. I have the best for you. That's what God says. I have my works for you, my desire for you, my plans for you. It's good plans. It's great plans. It's beyond that you can think, you know. And I live that, you know. So I think the problem is that, like, people, they pass through hard times. They don't want to share things, you know, and they hold everything within them, and it's hard. And I think even though when you go to a psychologist, you know, you go there and you have a problem, and then you talk with your doctor. Hey, you know, I have this problem. I have been bullied like this. I don't trust myself, or I don't believe that I can do things. I have this fear. You start like talking, and you get out of the office, of the doctor's office, like feeling amazing, feeling way better. Why? Because you put it all outside. You start talking. You start putting out, you know, the things. And the problem is when you hold and, you know, the doctor did nothing. The doctor just made you spit everything that you need to be out of you. And when you pray, it's like that. You pray, you tell God, hey God, hey Lord, you know, help me. Jesus, please, like I need this. You know, this thing is happening with me. Hey, you start talking, you start putting things out, and then you start like feeling better. You know, so it's all about like sharing things, you know, and iron sharps iron. To a man sharps another man. So you need to have friends that can be trustful, and you can share things, you know, and you can, and that person can make you feel better, you know. I believe that. So I think you need to approach to the right person, you know.
You know, Andre, I'll share this, and we'll go ahead and wrap things up. You know, as a musician, it got really lonely on the road, and how it happened was that because when I'm on the road, I'm in, they set up, I do my concert, I'm headed out back to the hotel, going to another city, doing a concert, you know, and there was not time to build relationship. I will say this, I wasn't going to talk too much about jiu-jitsu because I was more interested about how you're dealing with the fame and how you're dealing with the success and what your upbringing is and everything else. But when I started jiu-jitsu, I will say that there was a connection that I had. There was a camaraderie that I had with Marietta Combat Sports, and relationships that I was able to build. And when I got off the road and when I'm back at home, it was just something. It filled a void that I needed, you know. So it was a good thing. But anyway, 2 questions. Are you working on any projects at all? Any books? Any you have seminars lined up or another academy? I mean, anything going on?
Yeah, we have a lot of projects. We're doing great things here. You know, the gym is growing, thank God, and the business is growing. You know, we have like our online website where like people watch the classes, but we come in like with new things coming up soon, you know, in the website, inside the website. And also we have like book Drill to Win True that's coming up very soon. It's being like edited and it looks amazing. There'll be a lot of things that people can see and have an ideas of like how to build drills and things like that. Also I have like a project of with the store of the gym, you know, like in the business aspect.
Oh, sure.
You know, like doing like great things such as like merchandise and stuff like that. So also we are working like towards like our affiliation and the way we approach to our students and everything. So it's been amazing. I feel like really blessed, and there's a lot of great things coming up. And you know, the team is doing really well as well. I have my super fight coming up as well in September, end of September at ADCC. That'll be my last fight. Yeah, that'll be my last.
Oh no, that's
fight.
That's what I thought. I was going to ask you. I said I was going to ask you if you were going to compete in the ADCC. So that's going to be your last fight?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm 37 already. So I'm just want to help people, you know, and coach them. So.
Oh my gosh!
Because when you fight, when you fight, it's very stressful. You know, it's not easy.
Right. Well, listen. I tell you what. I just want to go ahead and wrap things up. I want to thank everyone for actually all our sponsors for supporting the Bully Resistance Show. Also, I want to thank Andre again for spending a few minutes with us just to let us know how he makes it through life, being successful, and also as a professional athlete. Want to encourage everybody, they can go ahead and subscribe to the podcast at www.davebond.org. And so until next time, thanks for listening.